Hey, it's Rick here, and welcome back to Humaning, a podcast where we talk to people about the imperfect art of being human. So today we've got Melanie Briony back on the podcast. Mel is a friend and a client and someone who I've worked with for quite a while. I really enjoy this concept of getting people back on and seeing what's happened since last time we spoke. I think her initial episode was like 6 months ago. So yeah, it was really cool to get Mel on and talk about those little growth points and how she's reframed certain things in her life, specifically around like working with her inner critic. Mel's really good at the daily practice of like nervous system regulation, so what she needs to do to keep grounded in order to be in a good place. And yeah, we look at what reframing success looks like. So I remember finishing this episode and being like, yeah, that was good. So I enjoy that feeling. So I really hope that you get something from this conversation. Melanie Briony, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Rick Watson.
How are you being your second time around? How are you compared to first time around sitting here about to start another podcast?
So much better. The last time, I think the first 5 minutes, I was freaking out and I couldn't think what I was going to say. My mouth was really dry, but I'm not like that today.
Cool. Me either. Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. I was hoping you were going to be running the show.
Yeah. Hopefully one of us is going to be running the show. Yeah, I'm stoked to have you back. And I think part of my idea with getting people back is just like a bit of a check-in and a follow-up. It's what's been happening and what are some of the things you've been working on, and that's some stuff that I want to touch on later. But as we always do, slowing the fuck down a little bit. And if we do take a bit of a breath, what's alive for you right now, physically, mentally, emotionally, as a bit of a check-in?
Physically, I'm feeling really good. I've been training pretty regularly recently and the body's feeling pretty good. It's not a little bit sore.
Yep.
Mentally, I'm feeling really excited today. I've just started getting into a new breathwork course that I'm studying, and I've been listening to some of the content this morning and learning new stuff already halfway through the first video. So I always love that. Gets me super excited.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it is actually. And emotionally, I actually feel really good today. I was super tired and flat yesterday, but towards the end of the day, I realized I hadn't really eaten enough food, and that was like, just remember to eat. But today, like, I just filled my stomach with really good food before coming on because that's always really grounding for me.
Mm.
And so yeah, I'm actually feeling tip top today.
Cool. I'm giggling about that last bit because it was kind of the opposite reality for us yesterday, wasn't it? Like we were jumping on a call and I was hangry and I'm like, I'm going to be 5 minutes late because if I don't eat, I'm going to be a nightmare to be around.
Yeah, and look, I know for myself that there's nothing worse than when you're hungry because your nervous system's all over the place.
And it's actually really low hanging fruit. Like, what do I need? What are my needs right now? Oh, I'm just fucking hungry.
I know, but like when my kids were younger and I used to be losing my shit, I remember my son saying to me one day, and it just always sticks in my mind. He said, "Mum, can I feed you?" I was like, "Oh my God, my child knows what I need better than I do."
She needs to be fed.
Yep, they learned that pretty quickly, I think.
That's cool. My check-in is physically feeling good. I just had lunch, so I'm not hangry. Actually just had coffee and donuts as a bit of a lunch dessert.
I see. I know. Was that like homemade donuts?
No, they were bought. I'm jumping on a month of no sugar, no alcohol, no fun next month.
Well, I was going to say what, starting tomorrow.
Okay, 1st of September. So I don't know what actual day that is. So I'm like, I'm not smashing things, but I'm actually just being a little bit, let's just do that because I know I'm going to have a whole month of, I don't know, a little bit more restriction. Yeah.
That sounds bloody awful. No, I understand the reason behind it.
It's so funny though, how donuts came up. This is random, but we'll just go with it. Joe and I were watching the Netflix documentary last night. Documentaries are a pretty big call, but the show around Behind the Biggest Loser, the reality TV show on Netflix.
That'd be interesting.
Oh, it's so wrong. Like, it's
It-
so wrong. And one of the dudes, because I had all the old contestants on there, one of the guys was just sitting in his car and he's like, I'm a secret eater and I eat like 10 donuts every morning before I go to work and no one knows about it. And he goes, it's the one time of my day where I'm fucking happy. And I'm like, dude, I love donuts too. And Joe's like, I love donuts too. So we kind of had this weird bond of like, can we get donuts tomorrow?
I'm glad you like donuts. I don't like them, but anyway.
Oh, donuts and ice cream are my like high priority sugar items. It's not priority, but just like my favorites.
Oh yeah, if you're going to go for something, I get
Yeah.
that. Chocolate ice cream is mine,
Anyway, I'm getting distracted
of
with
course.
the thought of slightly heated jam donuts. So yeah, physically feeling good, full. Um, I like it when I give myself a treat and I don't beat myself up about it. So kind of enjoying a little bit of playfulness around that. This is the second podcast I've done today and I fucking love it. I'm super excited to be here. I know our conversations are always pretty juicy, so very different vibe to like having someone on for the first time or someone that I don't really know. So we have been
Cool.
walking a bit of a path together for the last few years. So
We have a fabulous path.
yeah, it's been fucking cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then emotionally, yeah, excited, content. We've got our Melbourne program. We fly down tomorrow, so just got the final pieces of that put together. So that'll be all done by the time this comes out. But yeah, feeling what is the contentment from being a little bit productive? You know, like when you've ticked a few things off, and it's like, I feel good because of that. I don't know what the name of it is, but
I don't know what the name is, but I know what you mean. It's that high vibe contentment.
yeah. So that's kind of what I'm feeling at the moment, and I just feel super comfy sitting on the couch and having my leg up, and you know, having a conversation. So I just looked on my Spotify account, and our last conversation or our first conversation on here was on the 14th of January this year,
Wow,
and we're
it's gone
now at
quick.
the end of August, pretty much.
It's gone quick, hasn't it?
Yeah. And I'm going to ask you this really big, ambiguous question. Um, what's the last 6 months like been for you?
Wow, it's been pretty exhilarating ride actually.
Mm?
Yeah, I was just thinking back to what we were talking about, and I think it was at the beginning when I was just thinking about putting together my first breathwork and breathwork from a nervous system regulation point of view workshops.
Yep.
Since then, I've run a few of them, and like it's just been lighting me up so much.
Mm.
And doing like wanting to take my business more in the direction of coaching and breathwork, and how exciting it is, and how many amazing people I've met in that time, connecting with lots of people in that nervous system regulation and breathwork space, and feeling like I'm definitely definitely on the right path in life, and it's taken a lifetime.
Yeah. No, it's funny because like I did a podcast. Our last podcast was with Joe, and we kind of I think it was called a masterclass in misalignment, where we've both recently had our own variations of what it's felt like to be misaligned, and I hear and see the opposite of that for you, just like, oh, this is what it feels like when I know I'm on the right path.
Yes, 100%. And like that feeling inside your body when everything just feels right. And how much of time, because the reason I came to work with you is because things in my business weren't working. But I knew that they weren't working because I myself wasn't really able to connect with myself, my own needs, and just like the authenticity of myself. I felt like I completely lost direction and connection.
Mhm.
And so it was all about, getting to know myself and understanding why the same shit kept showing up in my business time after time after time.
Yeah.
And going, this is me. this is
Holy shit.
something to, this is something to do with me.
Mm.
So yeah, and like still now, like how I can notice when the same shit's coming up again and go, oh, I'm seeing it before I'm falling headfirst in.
Yeah. Yep.
So many amazing learnings like that in the last 6 months. It's just like as if, when did we start working together again? It was end of 22 or 23. When was it?
I think it was the end of 23. Oh, it might have been. Not sure.
Yeah, good question. But it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I think all the way back to when I first started working with you, I feel so much more me now. Like I felt so disconnected, and I was doing a lot of breath work, and breath work is obviously really powerful, but it's not something that changes your life overnight. But I've seen that how the two things working together, doing the breath work to connect with the self and slow me down, but then the work with you where we look at how I'm showing up and get
Mm.
really honest about that. And it's been fantastic because it's not like traditional therapy that I've done in the past. It's just like you give me permission to be myself. And then it's given me a foundation to build on. And this year has been just like springboarding off that foundation. It's just been fantastic.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool to watch from my side of the table. What have been some of the parts of yourself that you've met over the last little bit that that were challenging to meet?
Well, look, I mean, there's always the people pleaser. There's always the people pleaser. Um, and that one is that part of me is always popping up,
Mm.
still popping up. It's nice though. I've been making friends with her.
Because I think that was a lot of what we spoke about in our first podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But so I ran a workshop at the weekend, and it was just fantastic in so many ways. But of course, you run a workshop and you forget to say things, and things don't quite unfold as you expect. And even though the people that I worked with had the most amazing experience and they loved it and it was everything that they could have ever wanted, I came home and there was still that small part of me going, "You could have done this, and you could have done that,
Yeah.
and look at you thinking you're all amazing."
Mm. What?
So I had to have I had to have a little conversation with that part of myself, saying it's okay. I know you probably just feel a bit anxious about being seen. So yeah, it's the part of me that is petrified of being seen and petrified of being wrong, which was the same as what came up. Like the petrified of being wrong part was the bit that came up last time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's this visibility. The visibility piece is what I've been working a lot on this year.
Yep. With that part around the fear of being wrong or getting it wrong. How has your relationship to that part changed over the last 6 months?
Well, it's probably changed more in very recent times, actually. And it's like every time I run a workshop, every time I'm in front of people and I do something that is so-called wrong, you go home and you go, you should have done this, should have done that, you should
Mm,
know by now. But I think I really had an epiphany from the weekend where it's like, nothing's actually really wrong. I'm just saying that to you. It's like nothing's actually really wrong, is it? Because it's opportunity to learn and grow. Like in the workshop when something didn't completely go right, something else amazing happened and I was able to be more relaxed and a bit more spontaneous. And then I got into a flow with by removing this fear that what I was about to do was wrong or that it was not the right way to do it.
yep.
And I felt myself go into this place of flow, which I hadn't really allowed before because I'd been so structured around
Mm,
I have to do this bit, then this bit, then this bit, and then this bit happens. And then in the session, this energy started to happen where I was really everybody was connecting with each other and I was connecting with the audience. And suddenly getting everything right didn't really matter. And I was like, ooh, look at this.
yeah. Because what I hear in that is the difference between like the power of presence of like
Mm.
the trusting yourself to be with what is versus that future planning. I've got to get this right at this time and I've got to make sure I hit that mark. Such a different energy, yeah?
Yeah, it was a really different energy. And I mean, of course, as a beginner, there's a lot of time spent mastering your craft. And then as you get more experience, you can I am improving my skills in so many different ways. But
Yeah.
being comfortable with being myself is one of the biggest ones.
Yeah. And
Mm,
I'm smiling because I'm sure people listening all have a version of that for themselves,
mm,
being comfortable being myself, you know.
mm.
Um, Joe and I are heading down to Melbourne this weekend, and the theme for this weekend is being your own best friend. And that's like, can you be the person for yourself of, that best friend energy? What are some of the things that a best friend does? And I feel like the same sort of energy is what you're talking about here of acceptance of self, comfort in self, acceptance of other and the situation, and a little bit more because my experience with that is a little bit more peace that comes from that, as opposed to the critic and the conflict and the tension and that side of it. And that's a pretty nice gift to give yourself, isn't it?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
And also, I know it sounds, I don't know what do you call it, but um, completely lost the train of thought. I was going to say something obviously really important, and it's just popped out of my head.
It'll come back.
Yeah.
And then if we think about like the other side of that, so what old Mel would have done in the past and parts of that old Mel still show up a little bit. Um,
Mm.
that critical part that pops up, say after a workshop, and like, oh, you could have done this better, or you should have done that, or this could have been different. What what do you think the benefits of that part of you showing up have been in the past?
I mean, obviously, it's about keeping mixed. It's about that internal safety, isn't it? It's like part of believing that that's how I get to stay safe. But it's been doing the complete opposite.
Because what's the story in there around safety?
Good question.
Thanks.
um, well, because like if you show up and people don't like you, and then they don't want to
Can
have
you
anything to
use
do
eye
with
language
you.
for me?
All right. so, so if I show up and
Yeah.
people don't like me
Yep.
and they don't want to spend time with me as a result, then I become this lonely person who has no one.
Yeah.
Mm.
So in hearing in that is the critic, part of the benefit of the critic keeps you small so you don't put yourself out there, so you're not at risk of that happening. Is that what you're
Mm.
saying?
Yes, that's exactly what it's done my entire life. And actually, in fact, I even speak about it when I do the nervous system workshop.
Yep.
I introduce my story, talking about my struggles, and not because I'm being self-indulgent, purely and simply because the whole purpose and the reason that I'm there, sitting there in front of them, sharing what I know, is because of what I went through and all of the different stages of life and lessons and challenges that brought me to the place where I can speak with clarity and honesty about what it is to be human.
Yeah. Yeah, it's your humanness, isn't it? It's your lived
Mm,
experience, and I think that's what makes people relatable, and that's why I think the I language is so fucking powerful.
mm. It's so true.
Because it's got impact in it, as opposed to, when we do this, it's like when I do this,
Yeah,
I
one
feel this.
different.
Dang. Mm. So the critic has served you in the past by keeping you small and in turn keeping you safe from not putting you in challenging situations. At what point did you go, all right, that's enough? Like, where was there a tipping point with that, or has it been a little slow burn?
There was a point in that year when I started working with you where I was like, fuck this shit. I'm just, I'm just, I was so over myself because I'd been, like a person who has spent most of my life anxious. And then after years of being anxious and living on that high adrenaline, I just went into that shutdown state where I was like, I don't want to do anything. Nothing interests me. I can't be bothered.
Yep.
I was like, what the hell's going on?
Mm.
So that was the beginning of a tipping point, and I started working with you to work on my mindset because I was really struggling with all that negative thinking. And I
Yep.
knew after working with you for a really short space of time that I needed to take bigger risks, that I was being asked to either stay stuck in that place of shutdown, flat, unmotivated, uninterested way of living, and I just could see myself being stuck there for the rest of my life. And I was like,
Mm.
you've got two choices. You can just give in to this, or you can take bigger risks. And that is what I started doing.
Yep. I think that's super important because it's like a pivotal choice point, isn't it? There's like a
Mm,
fork in the road. I can do this. I've done this a lot before. I can keep doing exactly that
mm.
and have this reality, or I can move towards putting myself out there more.
Yeah, 100%. And it started with me deciding to participate in a breathwork and ice bath event because I was shit scared of getting in an ice bath. And I was like, this is the beginning of taking bigger risks.
You're so funny because, like, most people will probably choose something a little bit less extreme, but you're like, I'm jumping in the deep end, fucking head.
Yeah, well, at the same time, and then after doing it, I decided to sign up for a 5-day breathwork instructor training in the Snowy Mountains, jumping in the bloody river, freezing cold river in May. It was I was like, at one point, I was after I jumped in the water a couple of times, I was like, "There's something wrong with you."
So
But
it had quite a knock-on effect, that different choice point, yeah?
oh, it really did. It really did.
Mm.
Um, Exciting and also really challenging because I'd been running a fitness business for so long and I was a massage therapist and I was comfortable. I knew what I was doing. And then at that point, so I turned 53. I'm 53 now. So it was like 3 years ago.
Yep.
I was like, oh, I'm going to take a different career direction in my 50s. Yay, let's do this.
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
Mm.
Mm.
But it's cool though, isn't it? It's like I just honestly, I can really, truly, honestly say that it's the best fucking time of my life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool
It's
to
the
hear, isn't it?
it's the best time ever. Like I even said to my partner the other day, I said to him, "You know that this is the best time of our lives right now. We are living it. We've got, the kids are in a pretty good place. They don't live at home. We're buying a house together.
Yep.
We've both got work. and we're fit and healthy. This is it, this is the good shit.
Mm. These are the golden years.
Mm.
And I think about that part of you that was like stuck essentially. Um, and it's just such a cool thing to realize of like, I'm not stuck. I actually have a choice,
Mm.
and I think everyone who's got a little bit of stuckness in their life somewhere, at some point, hopefully they get to realize that they do have a choice. And I think it's a really important first step, you know?
It's also like for me, I just got to the point where I was like, I was so fed up with the same stories I was telling myself and the same scenarios coming up, and
I cannot
me
listen to my shit anymore.
no, me constantly feeling misunderstood, or you know and I was like, no more of this. It's just, I was boring myself, so boring. I became boring, very boring.
Yeah, and I think in that, like, it's pretty common to project like blame and excuses onto other people.
Hmm.
You're not doing this; it's your fault. This situation didn't happen. But I think what you did a really good job of was just be like, what's my role in this?
Mm.
How am I contributing to this dynamic? And I think that's that self responsibility piece, which is super important as a starting point of like, okay, I get that this is not all them, you know.
Yeah, well, if the same things keep showing up with different people, then you're the common denominator.
I laugh because it's so true, and I like the amount of conversations I have around like, oh fuck, it's me again. Hmm.
And
So
also,
what were some of the challenges with that? Like, you've made a different choice point. You're moving towards something that feels aligned. You're putting yourself out there, you know. And what were some of the challenges over the last year in that process?
I think it's still, especially with the business, it's still finding my voice. It's so bizarre because so many people say to me, "Do such an awesome job of your social media content." I'm like, "Yeah, I just make it up as I go along." And it's like, "Oh, really? You don't like plant? Nah, whatever's in my head at the time, that's what you get."
Hmm.
And I said, "But that's really hard too, because that's showing a side of yourself that, sometimes brings criticism,
Mm.
and it brings up all of the little demons inside me going, look at you. Who do you think you are, really?
Yeah.
Look at you. Just get back in your box."
Because it's the opposite of what that critic wants you to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And then it's having a different perspective. I mean, there's so many different perspectives on breathwork. There's as many perspectives and ways of looking and working with breathwork as there are people. And then it's like having your own one that you've like molded out of your own experience and your education and your experience, and how you want to show up for other people, how you
Mm.
want to show up as yourself, all of that stuff. It's like asserting yourself, creating a space for yourself in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of instead of expecting a space to be there for you, it's like now it's about creating the space. And that's a big difference too.
Yeah. I like that line. Instead of expecting the space to be there for you. No. When are all these opportunities going to come my way?
Mm. Yeah, and it was like, actually, I think some of the good stuff as well was, a bigger business reached out to me this year to offer me an opportunity. And, I got super excited because you're like, in that moment, you feel seen and you get super excited about being seen. And then I had this really important moment when I realized that I did not need this organization for my success. And that was such a huge thing for me. I was like, I can say no.
I
I
have a
can say
choice.
no. I can say no, this isn't right for me. And even though financially it might have been a great opportunity, it didn't resonate with me. It didn't
Mm.
sit well in my body. And I was like, something doesn't feel quite right here.
Yep.
let's backtrack a little bit and go, which part of me is wanting to be satisfied by being seen? Oh, I can still create all of the content that they would have liked me to create for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need, and I suppose you kind of believe, all of us have this little belief that someone's going to find us.
Yeah.
And
It will
so,
be discovered and everything will become easy.
and so that was a great moment. But I think we have to come to, you can read a million memes, but you have to come to the realization yourself. And for me, it's like a physical sensation in the body where it resonates in that moment. And you go, oh, now I understand what that means. And you
Yeah.
can actually feel it
Yeah.
for yourself.
I think my version of that recently has been a little foray into trying to turn this podcast into a video podcast, which is kind of hilarious because after deciding not to make a video podcast, here we are recording on video. So you got to be careful what you wish for.
I
But
know.
in that, like this will probably just go out as an audio anyway. But in that, I was reaching out and trying what I thought was like just stretching my comfort zone. But it wasn't until I really got to the crux of it, I was like, oh no, I'm trying to be someone I'm not. No. And then the critic, when I'm trying to be someone I'm not and I'm bad at it, the critic fires up. See, you're shit at this. You need to be better. All the stuff that comes up. And it was just unnecessary because I was stretching in a place where I didn't need to stretch because it wasn't who I am. And yeah, it was a really good lesson for me in regards to just being true to myself, being back in alignment of I feel more comfortable not being on video, and I've done a shitload of work on myself and it still got me.
Yeah. Well, this is it. So, I think the great thing about continuing to mold and shape ourselves is the same lessons come back up, don't they? Just a little reminder.
Yeah.
Not usually as ferocious, perhaps, as in the past,
And
but
this is, that's what got me thinking around that critic part for you, because it sounded like that this is something that's been like being seen and then being criticized and the critic firing up, and that's been a bit of a ongoing, like, enduring relational theme for you. But then you made me smile yesterday when I heard about the interaction that you had with your critic. Can you give a bit of context around that? Like, you mentioned it at the start of the podcast here that the critic showed up when you missed a few things, but what how did you do it differently this time?
well, first of all, just noticing.
Yeah.
Just noticing it and recognizing it and naming it. It's like going, oh, that's that inner critic part of me again, just wanting to keep me safe. And it's like I have a little inner conversation with that part of myself.
Yep.
So instead of being crushed by it, which used to happen in the past, I would just completely let it take over my thoughts and let it crush me. I'm able to see it and converse with it and
Yep.
acknowledge it, and it's so much softer. And in fact, it doesn't hang around for anywhere near as long as if I acknowledge it and converse with it.
So what was some of the conversation, if you're okay to share?
Yeah. Well, look, I can't remember the exact words. I mean, I was just out cleaning the pool, as you are, minding your own business, and I just feel the tension in my body. It's going, this mistake that you made, and you'd think that you had got it right by now, and look at you thinking that you can go and sit there and talk about these subjects. And I was like, it's okay. I can hear you. I understand you're just trying to keep me safe.
Yep.
But everything's all right. That we're doing okay and we're doing the best we can.
Yep. It's like
Really,
there's no
it's
need
not.
to fight, is there?
Yeah, and it's not. I don't think it's anything particularly, revelationary. Really, it's just this conversation, a gentle conversation, always from a place of kindness.
Yeah. And underneath that, what I see in that, and let me know if I'm wrong, but I see that it's identifying where there's the potential for a little bit of inner conflict and just bringing a little bit of peace and grace to it.
Mm.
Like just a little pat on the back going, it's okay, we're good. No, there's no need to be in conflict right now. What? So post that little internal chat, what was the knock-on effect of that?
Well, it's interesting because I have a lovely group of business ladies that I get together with once a month.
Mhm.
And I just mentioned to one of them what had happened. And she's like, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm not going to do anything." But then I got this really cool idea in that moment when she said, "What are you going to do?" And I thought, this isn't an opportunity to fix something that is broken. This is an opportunity to create something that is even better than that. And I
Mm,
ended up creating a little video to share with the people from the workshop to enhance their learning experience, because I realized when you do a workshop, everybody goes away and they're so excited about everything they learned and they like want
yep.
to implement it, and then they don't know what to do. And I used it as an opportunity to create a resource which can really deepen their learning. And it felt beautiful.
Yeah,
It
right.
felt like this beautiful opportunity. So instead of beating myself up and, you got to do this better and perfecting and perfecting and perfecting, I took it as an opportunity to create something just fabulous. And that then it got me really excited instead.
Yeah. Because I'm assuming that the critic was there because you missed a part in your workshop, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've taken that part and added it as another piece to give them more value.
Yeah, no, there was something so because I've connected in the room with the people so much that day. It was just such a beautiful interaction. And the reason I missed a piece out from the workshop was simply because I was in so much flow with what was happening in the room that it almost didn't seem necessary.
Mm,
But also then it's like I wanted to give more. And then I got so excited about that. It's another reason it makes me realize that I'm just definitely in the space of work and that I want to be in, because it's just about how can we serve people with, how can we help people, how can we support people, how can we give them things that they don't even know they need yet
yeah.
to
Yeah.
make their life more beautiful.
Thanks, critic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the gift, you know.
Mm.
And I think that's I was talking to someone about it this morning. It's just no, I was talking to you yesterday. We were talking about the gifts that are not always seen as gifts at the moment in the moment. No. So the critic giving us a hard time as we zoom out a little bit and move down a few days, it's like, oh, that was actually a real gift. In this sense, you literally turned it into something positive. But often the critic is also what drives us to change, you know, because
Mm.
it was that part of you was the instigator, the catalyst for something to be done differently back in the day. So it's like served you so fucking well, no. And I think this comes back to this theme that we're talking about on the weekend of like, what does it look like to be your own best friend, you know? And I think a part of that is forgiveness.
Mm.
Can I forgive the parts of me that I think are, you know, have been a bit rough? Because the reality is that they've had such an important role in shaping today. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, it's really got my mind thinking because this conflict piece thing, they're big words, but this idea about being your own best friend, the opposite of that is like, you know, being your own worst enemy. And to do that, that's where the critic and the shame and the guilt and all those parts play a role of like kicking you when you're down kind of thing. But they all have a little gift in them, you know.
Mm.
And often it's like those it's the experience and the emotional experience of shame that motivates us to do something about that so it doesn't happen again. No. So yeah, I think there's something really beautiful around this, like how do I be my best friend and maintain my peace versus how do I, build this inner conflict and kick myself in the shins.
which I spent so much of my life constantly doing,
Mm. Most
constantly
people
trying to
have.
be perfect, constantly trying to be perfect to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I do appreciate about you is that you do have a really authentic stance in the breathwork world. Um, I'm not a, I don't really know much about the breathwork world, but I do know what I don't like.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I'm just curious. Like you're talking about your flavor and what you bring. I'm just curious around like what what have you decided is the male version of the breathwork that you want to bring to the world?
Well, it's always about meeting people exactly where they are. So giving them enough education so that they know what they're getting themselves into, and then giving them permission to bail out at any point they need.
Hmm.
Mm.
And do I hear in that? What's the opposite of that then?
Well, I suppose it's showing up as the all seeing, all knowing,
Mm.
and sort of saying to people, this is what you have to do in order to achieve X, Y, Z,
Yep.
and then not creating enough space for a person to explore in their own time, in their own way, at their own speed, and mostly, 100%, the main thing from a place of inner safety for themselves.
Yep. Yeah, that part's pretty huge, isn't it?
Well, it is because it was the part for me that was the hardest. It was the part that I didn't understand. Like I was doing all the breath work. Why do I still feel shit? And it's like, understanding how to feel safe, how to choose the right breathwork practitioners to work with, how to choose the right events to go to.
Yep.
And it's going to be different for everybody. Everybody's looking for something different. It's getting to know yourself enough to know what's all of the right tools for you.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing I do love about the breathwork industry, and it's really wild to think of it as an industry now,
I
but
know.
I do love that it's just a structured vehicle for people to access their awareness.
Oh, so, so, so true.
Yeah. And I feel like we can all do with a little bit more of that.
We we can do a lot. I mean, that's what I loved about studying when I started studying with the language of breath with Jesse Kuma, because that's what he really introduced me to the concept of awareness
Yep.
and how to use the breath for awareness. And then that took me down a huge rabbit hole, learning about everything to do with the autonomic nervous system and safety and what that means in the body and how it shows up when you feel safe, when you don't. And I just think that awareness is the first thing. It's like without awareness, you're just breathing.
Yeah. Yep. And I think like I'm just thinking of a practical example, like you on Monday cleaning your pool, having some awareness that the critic is active, and I'm
Mm.
sure that there was the cognitive awareness of like the story, but I'm sure there was some physical sensation awareness as well around
Oh,
that.
yeah, absolutely. There's always
Yeah.
tension in the body.
Yeah. And it's like that's the little gateway drug to be like, okay, you can't work with what you can't see.
No, I mean, this is what I'm teaching. It's like these internal processes. It's like building a relationship between the cognitive, rational decision making self and the emotional feeling and sensing self. And it's like we've cut ourselves off at the head and we spend all our time living up here.
Mm,
And it's like, but most of what's going on and sending information up here is happening down here.
mm.
So, well, we need to work with down here, and that starts with awareness. I mean, it can be quite overwhelming. I think if a person's really traumatized, they've cut themselves off from this down here because there's
And
too
just for
much.
people that are listening, like you're holding your hand at your
Oh,
chest
yeah,
and
sorry.
underneath it.
Yeah, saying cutting yourself off from like the head. So, cutting yourself off at the neck and
Yep.
only working with the head.
Yep.
It's like, and so we become super fixated about thinking, but most of what's happening that's creating those thoughts is coming from the sensations below the neck, the internal sensations that are coming from inside of us.
Mm.
And but it can be extremely overwhelming if you've been through a lot of trauma to get into a comfortable place where you can access the information that's coming from the neck down, which
Yeah.
is which is why it needs to be a considered approach with breath work and always coming at it from a place which is feels safe to you in that moment with everything that you've turned up in the room with that day.
Yep.
And it's going to be different on different days too. And this is where breath is beautiful because it can give us just enough opportunity to create safety so that we can take a little peek at what's going on
Yep.
in a deeper level.
Yep. And I think that's what I like about your work is that you offer people that option of like, let's titrate this to where you're at. No,
Mm,
let's not jump into a big holotropic breathwork session if this is the first time that you've moved from your head down to your feeling body.
yes,
Mm.
exactly. And crazy things happen. I've had some fun, interesting, weird, and a little bit scary things happen in breathwork sessions,
Yep.
where I believe I'll probably stop breathing, which, can happen when you do a lot of over breathing, but it can be really unnerving. It's like, what the hell was
Yeah.
that?
Totally. Yep. I want to touch on the topic because I know a lot of the work that you do is like that. It's really putting a practical sense from the breath work to the nervous system regulation. And it's a bit of a buzz term
Mm.
around this nervous system regulation. I've got a few thoughts on it, but I'm throwing shots from the bleachers. I'm not really at the coal face. I'm just being a bit fucking judgy up in the back row.
I love hearing how other people see it and talk to it because I always learn something from that too.
Because I think for me, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, for me, the nervous system stuff is where it can be misconstrued is the perception that we always have to be grounded
Mm.
and that if you're not grounded, you're failing.
Yeah,
You know?
I can understand I can understand that, and that's probably how I felt at the beginning.
Yeah. And I think with the nervous system stuff, I think the fluidity from, up into sympathetic being activated to grounded to then being, I think you call it dorsal vagal or,
Yeah, that's the one.
yeah, collapse. I call it collapse.
Yes, yeah,
Um, I think the fluidity between those states is important because I think there are times where we need to be up and there are times that we need to be down and there are times that we need to be grounded and in the middle.
100%.
And I think if we make one right or wrong, we're creating more inner conflict in ourselves. We get back to this best friend concept.
Yeah, you're 100% right, and I think this is exactly what I was talking about at the weekend. We're not trying to always be in ventral vagal safety and connection. We need the energy of fight flight and the energy or the lack of energy of dorsal because you think like when I was saying it in the workshop when I showed up for that workshop, if I didn't have the energy of sympathetic in my system, I'd be pretty boring to listen to.
Yep.
Not necessarily, it gives me the energy to sit there, to show up. um, but when the problem arises when we get stuck there, when we don't have the capacity or the tools and skills to identify that that's what's happening and be able to bring ourselves back into a little bit more safety and connection. And we
Mm,
also, the great thing I learned is like we need a bit of dorsal think about blending them because we often think, oh, it's the extremes of sympathetic fight, flight, or the extreme of dorsal vagal shutdown, or we're in the middle. But it's not like that. We're moving between all of them.
yeah, it's like a
And the
spectrum.
yeah, and the bigger our window of tolerance, the easier it is for us to move in between all of them. And we need a little bit of a blend of that ventral vagal safety with a bit of the dorsal vagal so we can go to sleep at night.
Yeah. I like the practicality of helping people um, improve their fluidity. So if I notice I need to be more grounded and I'm really activated, what do I need to get back down?
Mhm.
If I notice I need to be more activated when I'm in collapse, what do I need to at least, get up? Like the little practical things. If someone's never come to a breathwork session, but they want to do a little bit of um, nervous system regulation work at home, what's something that they can play with in that context?
Well, always start with awareness. So begin by noticing. Um,
Boring.
I
No,
know, I
sorry.
was like, I know
I
you want
agree.
like no, it's like begin with awareness because awareness is the foundation of all positive change. And um, I this is what I often one of the most common questions. Which breathwork technique? It's you can there's definitely rules around certain techniques and whether they're going to make you feel relaxed or whether they're going to lift you up.
Mm,
But start with a technique like balanced breathing, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, and see how you go with that, and how check in with how you're feeling before you start. Breathe for a couple of minutes and check in with how you're feeling.
mm,
And that's a great way to make a decision about whether that's a good technique for you at that time for
yep.
what you need.
I have a funny version of this. I don't know if it's
Hmm.
funny, but it's a bit cowboyish. When the men come for men's circle and we do a little bit of sage welcome in, they get their seed, and I kind of do that for everyone as they come. I kind of unofficially get a bit of a vibe check, you know, collectively, what do I think this group needs tonight? And once I sit down and we're all there, it's like, okay, are we going to be calming? Are we going to be, dropping down and being a little bit more passive? Or do we need to lift the energy? And the energy that might mean a little bit more sort of active over breathing and that sort of thing. And I literally don't make a plan for it. And when they come through, it's like, all right, I think we're going to go this way tonight based on, what my gut is saying or maybe what I need. I don't know. But it's always interesting to hear the feedback after that once we check in of like the impact that the breath has had in that moment. And I think people can do that at home.
Hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
I mean, I've started creating these emails that are like the 5 minute reset, and it's just literally 5 minute snippets of breath work that you can basically do at your desk while you're working.
Yeah. Let me chuck the your YouTube link on the show notes because you've got some cracking little 5 minute videos that would be
Yeah,
super
thanks. That'd be
handy.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. And this is it. It literally 5 minutes a day can make a massive difference.
Mm. What about you, Mel? What's what's the next sort of month look like for you, and how are you going to get in your own way?
um, I have got. I'm running another workshop at the end of August. Got some more breathwork sessions coming up. And I mean, I'm still running my PT. So I've got my PT and coaching clients, which are I'm really loving the ladies I'm working with at the moment. Some really great, it's just great energy in that space. And I have started studying with the School of Breath Science, and I'm studying the breath science certification. And I know that it is going to be a lot of work.
Right.
Super exciting and enjoyable and challenging in all of the best possible ways.
Yeah. We were kind of talking about this yesterday, that pull between knowing that you need rest, but also being excited and pulled towards things that are filling your cup and like that learning part.
I know we were, weren't we?
Yeah. What's that like for you, that tension between the two?
That's always a challenge for me because I suppose in the past I've always been a person that would just believe that if I just pushed a bit harder and did a little bit more that things would work out.
Yeah.
And that tension of that fight flight energy, it's almost addictive, isn't it? To keep pushing and noticing in the background you can feel that you're sitting on the edge,
Yeah.
but continuing to go anyway.
Mm.
And so I could see that because after I do a workshop, it takes a lot. And I could feel that I was right at the top of my sympathetic. I could feel myself reaching the edge of my sympathetic limit
Yep.
because of running a workshop and everything that's involved in it. And then there's that tension where you feel like, you need to rest. The logical part of you knows you need to rest, but your body is like fully in that full swing all out. And it's being able to recognize that.
Mm.
And like bringing in, it's not just the breathwork self care piece that really matters when I'm like that. It's even just saying to you, that's how I feel, and
Yeah.
acknowledging it is a really big one. Making sure I'm eating enough, asking for a bit more help in the home space. If I'm noticing that I want to punch somebody in the head because they're not picking up the dirty washing or putting the dishes in the dishwasher.
Hey, bro.
um, it
But yeah,
is.
I think what you're speaking to there, and the challenge in that is like being up and about for so long and productive and getting things done, and then it's nearly a need to slow down in order to recover and rest and regroup, but your system's still up and about.
Yeah.
So it's like one thing to have the intention, it's another thing to be like, all right, fuckers, let's calm down.
Yeah, and it's true. Like yesterday, I was like that. I really could feel like that tension yesterday. The tension between that activation energy and the need to stop and rest.
Yep.
Um, I am really good at pushing through that. I'm really good at pushing through it. But I could have gone to the gym and lifted weights yesterday, and I chose not to. I went for a walk instead, which is like it's a way of like shifting some of that energy, but in a way that's more like soothing, more calming.
Yeah.
And so instead of choosing something else that was gonna ramp me up, and
Mm.
look, we can do it 2 ways. It's everybody's gonna find their own tools, but it's acknowledging first that that's what's happening and then making decisions to implement the tools that you have.
Yeah.
And that's something that I have to really catch myself with.
Yep. It's like, what's the step in the right direction? If my direction is I think I need more rest,
Mm.
going to the gym and smashing myself is the wrong direction.
Yeah, in that moment, and actually, in fact, I could feel like my muscles and joints are still quite sore from the previous session. Classic
Mm.
indication, probably not had enough recovery.
Yep.
You know, s- but it is always that inner tension, that belief, because it comes down to a belief that I need to be more productive
Yeah.
in order to be successful, as the in quotation mark.
Yep.
And it's learning a different kind of success for myself. What does success look like to me? And this is something I've been exploring quite a bit over the last year or so. It's like, what does success look like to me? Well, success to me looks like managing to get full training sessions in the gym each week.
Mm.
Success to me looks like eating in a way that supports my body so that it can train, so that it can show up, so I can show up mentally well.
Yep.
It looks to me like having the right type of support around me, as in friends, and also like having yourself as a coach. Helping my partner to understand what my needs are. This
Mm.
is something I've definitely been exploring a lot more in the last couple of years.
So what did success used to look like? Because that all sounds holistically beautiful and I want a piece of it. But what did it used to look like?
It used to look like pushing myself to the max all the time, and I was always really good at eating well, but I never slept very well. I was always stressed out. I wasn't emotionally present for my
Mm.
kids in a way that I wanted to be. I just didn't know how to be. I just felt like if I just kept pushing a bit more, if I just keep pushing a bit more.
Mm.
But I was frazzled and I was emotionally unavailable and constantly wired and stressed out. Didn't did not know that I could ask for help, saw it as a sign of weakness.
Yeah, that's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah. Um, yeah, all of yeah, so many so different. I mean, look, it does help when I just truly believe you get to 50 and like you've got two ways to go. You either keep on with that bullshit that you lived all that time, or you become something like a bloody upgraded version of yourself. And I was like, fuck this, I'm upgrading.
Yep. Yep.
I'm bored with living this way. It's lasted long enough. Thank you.
Yep. I love that term, upgrading.
Mm.
I might use that as the name of my new group.
It is a bloody good upgrade. I mean, like they say, menopause, it can make you or break you. Well, I'm choosing for it to make me. I'm making myself at this
Mm,
time in my life to be like the bloody the best version of myself. And I would just like to thank myself all of those years for everything that I went through and that I learned about myself and my willingness to take all of that and turn it into something fucking glorious.
yep. Amen to that. All right.
Imperfectly glorious because there are still all the doubts and still all of the
Mm,
self criticism, and there's still so many of those things happening in the background. And I don't always earn enough money all the time because self employment's challenging. And so it's not like suddenly I woke up and my life is perfect. There's still all of the challenges happening in the background and the negotiation and the putting yourself out there and they're not always being accepted. It's still all of that is still there, but
yeah.
who I'm showing up as now, and I was saying this to you yesterday, I know who I am for the
Yep.
first time ever. I truly know who I am and what is important to me and what fucking shit I won't put up with and what belongs to somebody else, what's theirs and what's mine. And that
Mm.
that for me is just like this next level thing because I've never had that before.
What's theirs and what's mine? That's a huge one.
Mhm. Mm.
Because again, we come back to this idea of conflict of like, how many fights do you want to have at the same time? Like, if you're trying to bite to everyone who's triggered by you, it's like, oh, that's going to be fucking tiring.
Yeah.
If you can be at peace with that and be like, oh, that's not mine, that's theirs. Cool. I just maintain my peace. What a gift.
Such a gift,
Yeah.
such a gift. Because I used to always make, and it was interesting. I was going to speak to you about this the other day, and I didn't. I wrote it. I
We
really
can
want to share.
finish the
I
coaching
want,
session here amongst friends.
yeah, I wanted to share something with you that came up, but I wrote it down because it just came to me in a session where we were doing some journaling, and I realized one of the ladies walked into the room, and I could sense that she wasn't quite herself. Her energy was different. In that moment, my brain, my nervous system picks up on that information and interprets it as I've done something wrong.
Ah,
And it was then, of course, the conversations unfold and we all share about what's happened for us. And it turned out there was quite a lot going on for her. And it was a really big realization moment for me how I've spent my whole life, my nervous system reading that information coming from other people's bodies. And to keep myself safe, I make it about me. And it's like, oh, straight back into the making yourself small.
yeah. The hypervigilance and then the retraction.
Yeah. And
That's
it
cool
was
to notice.
just yeah, it was just super cool to notice in that moment. I was like, "Holy fuck, I've been doing it my whole life, and now I get to see it, to
Yeah,
choose something different."
yeah. And I think what we're at the stage that you're at, it's becoming a lot easier and a lot quicker to bring kindness and forgiveness to those parts.
Mm.
And that's got some weird fucking magic alchemy to it as well. You know?
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, Mel, this has been great. Thank you.
No, thank you, as always.
I do have one little question to finish off, and it's kind of around what we've been talking about, just in the context of continuing to build and put yourself out there and do more stuff. Um, how do you do that and still manage your rest and like that? And we're talking about that up and about state, the sympathetic state, and then needing to be in that a little bit rested. How do you not fall back into the pattern of just pushing to get what you want?
Well, I don't always get that right.
Good answer.
Because literally, like before I went overseas for my lovely friend's wedding, I was creating my first ever course, and I wanted to finish it before I went. And believe me, I pushed every single molecule of energy out of my body doing that. Like I pushed myself beyond the push, and
Mm.
it was a massive realization of yeah. When I did it. I finished it before I went overseas. Then I went overseas, all well and good, wonderful. Then I came back, and it was like the energy of it was waiting for me to deal with when I got home. And my nervous system went into full shutdown. It was like, you are not showing up like that.
Yep.
It was so it's still a learning. It's
Yeah,
still a huge
retrospectively even,
learning.
like, learning it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Massive. I mean, I kind of knew, and I kept saying to myself, sometimes you just got to keep going. Sometimes you just got to keep going. But what I came back to was friggin' awful. I felt really massively depressed, and I really, really, really struggled for at
Mm.
least 2 weeks to face what I had to face when I got back. It's like, Jesus, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. Seems like
So,
such a long time ago now, doesn't it? But it's not.
listen, so kind of that's a weird way of answering the question, but really the answer is it's awareness.
Yep.
It's like, well, bring awareness to how you're showing up. Make decisions that can support you in your
Mm.
endeavors.
And I
Yes,
think
it's important. It's
sorry, you go.
important to challenge us. No, it's important to challenge ourselves,
Yes.
but not so much that it tips us over the edge all the time.
Yep. And I think with the awareness bit, there's kind of 3 phases that you can play with, and none of them are wrong. It's like worst case scenario is what you just said is like after the fact, look back and be like, "Oh, fuck, I probably could have done that differently." The other one is in the moment being able to catch it. You're like, I can feel myself, you know, whatever it is. And then the other one is the little in advance warning signs. Like when you start to really fine tune those awareness skills, is like,
Mm.
oh, I'm starting to feel like this is heading in that direction that I've been to before, and I want to do something about it now rather than in a week when I realize I'm too far down the track. They're all cool, and none of them are wrong, you know.
No,
And most of
it's
us
true.
need to be that looking back because we won't catch it. And then occasionally we might get 1 or 2 catches. And then occasionally we might go, oh, I caught it before. If we're well resourced, we have the ability to do that. So it's interesting to think about those 3 parts.
It's so true, and I think what you just said then about being well-resourced is really important, and I think one reason I have more empathy for my situation in the past where I was struggling when the kids were younger, is because I wasn't well-resourced at all, and I think being aware, but also understanding how to resource yourself, and you're always really good at reminding me. You asked me that question, and I think and it's definitely helped, like, you asking me, "Well, so, going forward, what's your support system?"
Yep.
And that's all that resourcing, and there's lots of different levels to that. I mean,
Yeah.
I've made so much effort in recent years to build a network of women in the local area that I can turn to for support, even in the smallest way. So
Yeah.
it's like, how can we resource ourselves with, and it doesn't need to be things like going to a psychologist or having a massage. It can literally be just getting better at asking friends
Yeah.
for
And
help.
we were talking about this in Circle on Monday night, and I like to use the frame like scaffolding. Like, what scaffolding have you built that can hold you up when you fall down? Um,
Mm,
and like, there's the big ones. So, like, we all said that like our men's circle is a part of our scaffolding that
yeah.
can support us when we're not feeling great. obviously coaching, therapy, all that stuff, that explicit, proactive stuff. But it could also be, I just need to fucking eat. I
Mm.
just need to sleep in, or I just need to not see a human for a day. Like, it can be really simple. This scaffolding part. I need to do 5 minutes of breath work, you know.
Yeah,
So
100%.
mm,
I think though sometimes, I mean, you've brought to my attention definitely things that I can resource myself with, and some of the books I've read have helped me to identify ways I already resourced myself, and I hadn't labeled it as that. We all have things positive, and I say this in the kindest possible way. We have positive ways that we resource ourselves, and not necessarily so positive things that don't necessarily improve the long term outcome, but they're still supportive in that moment. And I
yeah,
think it's why we need to be kinder to ourselves. Maybe when we like turn to food, for example, for
yeah.
support.
Bit of doom scrolling.
Yeah, that's it. You
Yeah,
can, and like you pointed out to me, you can see scrolling in two ways. You can label it as doom scrolling, or you can see it as a way to regulate and calm yourself and feel good.
yeah.
It's the intention, isn't it?
I just think you gave permission to everyone to get on social media tonight.
We're all freaking doing it anyway. We might as well like ourselves while we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We may as well like ourselves anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the title for this podcast. Right. All right, Mel. Thank you so much for, what is the time? We're a bit over an hour, so it
Too,
goes
s-
so
too,
quick.
it does, but it was pretty fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you. Um,
Thank you.
what are some of the things that you've got going on over the next month, in case there's people out there that want to hang?
Well, I am delivering a workshop for women embrace adventure at the end of August. I don't know if they've filled all their spots. I'm not
And
sure.
and
They
you're in Newcastle, aren't you?
Yes,
Yep.
and so we're doing a workshop for women who want to get stronger, have better breathing, and better nutrition for their hiking. So that's at the end of August, and I've got breath work a 70-minute breathwork session that I'm running in Swansea on the 12th, Friday the 12th, for an hour.
Cool.
So they're my two upcoming live events, but there will be more this year.
It will. Um, and yeah, I'll stick your Instagram, your website, all of that stuff in the show notes, and especially the YouTube channel link, because there's some
Yes.
gold on there as well. So
Yeah, that'd be great because I've created so many different resources on there.
mm. Yeah, and if anyone's got any questions of anything that's come up today, like just flick Mel an email. Like, I'll put all the details there. So
Yeah,
um,
that'd be great. I
we
love
are
to hear
humans
from
and we love
people.
talking about this stuff. So
We do.
yell out. All right, mate. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you in 6 months.
Yes, that's great. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, see you, Mel.
Bye.
Hey, just before you head off, I just wanted to jump on quickly and remind you that on my website, I do have a repeating pattern quiz. It's a 2-minute quiz that you can take to find out what your dominant repeating pattern is and then what to do with it. Lots of people have been taking it, and there's been some really good feedback. What I've done, I've added what I've called a pattern debrief call, which sounds a bit funny and a bit fancy, but it's essentially a 45-minute call for $45, and I can talk you through your pattern and some really practical ways to work with it. So by all means, just go and do the quiz and find out, and you'll get some email follow-up around that. But if you want to go a little bit further and you want to do some work with it straight away, I do have that pattern debrief call, which is $45 for 45 minutes. The link is in the show notes. All right, thanks. Have a great day.